Hi, and welcome to episode 85 of M1 Yarns and the Michigan Makers podcast. I'm Jamie, your host, and the yarn dyer behind m1yarns.com. And if you're new here, welcome. This is a fiber arts related podcast. And if you're not sure what that means, for me at least, it means knitting, the occasional crochet and Tunisian crochet, spinning fiber, and the occasional other stuff, yarn dyeing, I don't know, fiber festivals, all that good stuff. So anyway, I hope you have a beverage and your project. Today I have a big Stanley of water, and I have my projects. And so let's just dive in. So I decided to record this episode today rather than I was looking at my computer because I realized it was like on some weird screen. Anyway, apologies. I had plans to record this episode last week, and then last week was a total disaster. It was a dumpster fire of a week. And so then I thought, okay, I'll record it later in this week. It's July 4th week. So here in America, you know, we get a day off and that feels great. And then what had happened was, to make a long story short, and then I'll double back. I went to the doctor today and I got cortisone injections in my hand in 2 fingers for trigger finger. If you've been a viewer for a little minute, last winter, out of the blue, I got trigger finger in my thumb and middle finger. And the great debate was, is knitting excessively causing this? Or is it me just getting older? Or is it a total fluke? Is it because of something else that I was doing in my life with like a repetitive thing? I'm convinced that the knitting aggravated it because the way I hold my needle in my right hand, I can't do it with this hand today, but I basically squeeze down with my thumb and middle finger for the most pressure in my grip. So I'm convinced that that impacted it. So I had shared this on the podcast and said, hey guys, if you have experience with this, let me know your thoughts. In the end, a lot of you commented and were super supportive, which I really appreciated. I did end up getting cortisone shots in like February. They kind of helped, but then they didn't. So then I was going to get surgery, but then Fiber Festival season was about to start and I was like, I can't be, impacted trying to recover. So I'll put it off till next winter. Well, then the trigger finger came back with a vengeance in my thumb. And I mentioned it to a customer who was in my booth at a fiber festival about a week or so ago. And she said that she had good success with the second round of cortisone. So I called my doctor right away when I got home and said, please, please, please schedule me ASAP. Today was my injections. So my hand is partially numb, like in the first half of my finger and like kind of down here, a little bit in here. So I can't do any computer work. I really shouldn't be knitting, at least for a few hours. So I thought this is the perfect time to sit down and chat about knitting and whatnot. So that being said, I actually have quite a bit of fun stuff to share with you. So let's start with something that we don't often talk about, and that is spinning. I do love spinning. I got an electric eel wheel last August, and since then I do it every maybe one day a month or something. It's definitely not my primary thing, and if I spun all the time, then when would I knit? Would I spin? I still have quite a few skeins of hand spun that I made that I have yet to knit with. And I am knitting my first project that includes my hand spun, which we'll get to this in a moment. But this was my first June, July as a spinner. And if you are a spinner, you'll know what I'm talking about. But if not, let me just share. So the Tour de France is going on right now. And during the Tour de France, for the last like 20 years, there's been the Tour de Fleece. And it's been a very casual event for spinners to set goals and just kind of make a more intentional goal of spinning every day that the cyclists ride. And the 2 days that the cyclists rest, they rest. And the 2 days that are like extremely challenging, you're supposed to challenge yourself somehow in your spins. And I saw this on Instagram the other day and I thought, you know what? I've had the bug to spin. I have not done it in a good month or so. So I would like to get back to it. So yesterday I sat down for a nice chunk of probably 3 or 4 hours, spun this whole bobbin. It is not perfect, but I am rolling with the punches and just accepting it for what it is. Excuse me. The fiber, which I have this left of it, isn't that cool how like you can kind of translate the ball of fiber into hand spun? And this is a single ply right now. This is from Maggie's farm, which she has a lovely huge booth at Rhinebeck every year. And last year in Rhinebeck, why is that so hard to say? Feels very nasally. This is at the New York Sheep and Wool Festival. I bought this. I bought some goat's milk hand cream from her and something else. And it did not have a tag. I cannot remember what kind of specific wool it is. It doesn't come apart as easily. So I don't know what the word is for that off the top of my head. I don't know what that was on it. But anyway, it is a little bit more challenging to spin, which is why I think I'm getting some inconsistencies, like little, I don't know, thicker bits, but I'm good with it. So it's fine. So, my goal is to spin, I don't know if I'll do every day. I would love to, but I have some projects that I need to get off the needles. So that is my current spin. And if you've never spun, I encourage you to look into like maybe some local yarn shops do spinning classes or spinning like workshops. And I would like to eventually get a traditional wheel, but for now, the electric eel wheel, which if you don't know what that is, it's an electric spinner. It's just like desktop size. It's like this. It's great. It's portable. You can do it with a battery pack or plug in the wall so you can take it with you, do it on your patio. Anyway, I'm totally into it. So speaking of hand spun, I am knitting for the first time with my hand spun, and this is the Alpine Bloom sweater, which I'm going to make short sleeve. I think that's the plan. I think I have enough yarn to make it long sleeve, and it would be really pretty. So I don't know, maybe I should. I do love a good long sleeve sweater. I have about 15 more rows of the color work chart. I think last time I shared it, it was probably somewhere up here, barely anything done. So I am super happy with how this is looking. Again, this hand spun is not perfect, and I am so okay with that. This process is really making me enjoy the nuances of handmade stuff. So the kind of, I don't know what color you would call this, mauve maybe. This is Happy Place yarn by Hobbii, which is a collaboration with Tony of TL Yarn Crafts. Hey Tony. And this, the contrast color that's like kind of color changing is, here's the ball. Like I said, this is my own hand spun. It's plied with mohair, but the main kind of colory bit is MelanatedBohoBae's. It was like a soybean and something else blend. And it did not ply well together. I don't know what I did wrong. It doesn't matter though, it's beautiful. So I just want to finish the color work. And then basically, I mean, I'll be cruising through. Oops. Let's just see how many bloopers we can do on this episode. Once I separate for the sleeves, I'll be cruising on the body because it's just all plain stockinette. So yeah, love that. And then my other summery project, which is fantastic now, but wasn't a week ago. This is the, I almost said Taylor Swift. No, it's the Sailor Swift top by a name I can't remember. I will put it on the screen. And speaking of information, all my show notes are below, including where you can find me everywhere in the interwebs. This is also Happy Place yarn. This is, I've got to try this on when I'm done recording. This is coming along. However, I recently went to photograph it for Whip Wednesday on Instagram and realized when I laid it flat on the table, when I put it on a stitch holder cord, that the body of the tank was like a good 8 inches in circumference too much. So I ripped back to the sleeve separation. And you know how normally right here you would pick up like, let's say 8 stitches to create the underarm. I added no stitches. I just joined the 2 pieces that were the front and back top and just started knitting. And actually, well, it looks a little wonky because it hasn't been blocked. But anyway, so I gotta try this on because I think it's just about long enough for me. And then there's some I-cord edging, and then it should be good to go. And I bought the cutest navy high-waisted linen pants to go with this. So I'm pretty excited. So those 2 tops have been really taking up my attention as of late. Let me get my yarn off the floor. And because I was enjoying them so much, I decided to scrap my temperature blanket. And this is a project I have talked about in every episode of 2024. I wrote down the high temperature of Detroit for every day of 2023. And then in like January of 2024, I knit January 2023's temperature, and February, I did February 23, and so on. So every month, by the end of the month, I needed to have that month's temperatures done. Cast it on here. We had a lot of we had a mild winter. So that was like a lot of 40s and 30s. These colors represented. And then we get into the spring, and then we get into warmer temperatures and warmer colors. And earlier not this month, because now it's July, but earlier in June, I decided this just was not bringing me any joy anymore. And it's already huge. This is DK weight. I knit it on a size 6. I need to take a finished object photo of this. And am I showing you the back? I think I am. Let me show you the front. This thing is so huge. Okay, I totally got interrupted, so I don't know exactly what I was saying. But nonetheless, I just decided that this was big enough It was no longer bringing me joy. I wanted to focus on the sweaters that I want to make this year and not spend, you know, like probably 10 hours a month on this project. And so the other day I thought, okay, I'll just knit the June temperatures and we'll end on June. Well, I knit to June 3rd and I realized I had grabbed the wrong color to denote whatever temperature that was. And I was like, you know what? Just forget it. It's done. It's done. That felt so freeing to just be done. So I bound off. I need to take some photos. I mean, I'm pleased with it. I don't think garter choice was the best choice. I also think that crocheted temperature blankets are far better than knit, because if you did like a granny square, then it's a small portable project and then you assemble at the end. That's just my thought, rather than having a giant blanket in your lap that you're working on that you're trying to turn. So this is kind of like me talking through like the pros and cons of the project. It is nice to have the memory of like, you know, okay, you did this for this year or whatever. But I think the garter stitch made it really like, not heavy. I mean, the yarn weight is what it is. What's the word? How it hangs. If you know what I'm talking about, comment below. Anyway, I just decided I probably won't use this. So I would actually really like to gift it to maybe someone in need. So I'm going to store it away and believe that the universe will send me the right person at the right time, which makes me feel good about this project all over again. So that being said, I did have quite a bit of leftover yarn, particularly like this tan, this kind of burnt orange, some of the yellow, which was the bulk of the rest of the year's colors. And because it's DK weight, I thought it would be fantastic for knitting a tank that I recently test knit called the Totally Tubular Tank by Marl Mokri, whose Instagram and like Ravelry handle is Knitting Ruin My Life. All this is linked below. I recently test knit this tank. I'll insert a photo, and the fit was fantastic. I was so happy with it. I loved knitting it. I think I knit it in like 10 days, and I've worn it a lot so far this summer. So I think because I have this yarn, that I will put it to use in making more of these tanks. So that's the plan. Anyway, that's that. Moving on, I feel so freed, and I think the moral of the story is if something is not bringing you joy in your fiber arts practice, let it go. Like, this is supposed to be a hobby. I can't even fold this thing. It's so huge. Let's just toss it to the side. Okay, let's see. I had a whole list of things to talk about. Oh, speaking of knit tanks and short sleeve sweaters, we have a new Knitalong. After the last one ended, I put a little call out and said, hey guys, what do you want to do for the next Knitalong? And overwhelmingly, the response was, let's do a summer, like a summer knits type of Knitalong. So we are calling this the Summer Knits KAL 24. That's the hashtag you can use if you're going to post project photos to Instagram, or you can chat and add photos to the Ravelry forum, which is linked below. And anytime you post, that is your official entry or entries, you can post as much as you want, for a chance to win a prize at the end of the Knitalong, which I think we're going to end it September 20th. So it'll basically run the whole summer. It kicked off July 1st. So you have plenty of time. And the only rule is you have to make a short sleeve or sleeveless top. You can knit, you can crochet, you can use a current whip, something in timeout, you can cast on something new, you can make a tube top, you can make a bra top, you can make a tunic, just no long sleeves. That's it. Casual. So, yeah, I encourage you to participate. I love knitting summer tops because they go faster without the long sleeves. And let's be real, like there's plenty of good cotton or cotton wool blend yarn out there, including Hobbie's Happy Place, which I'm currently knitting those 2 tops with. Wool is breathable, so I have plenty of knit tanks that are made out of wool that I wear on the hottest day of our summer, which here in Michigan can be like mid-90s with 90% humidity, and wool breathes better than cotton, so just saying. Anyway, so that's our new Knitalong. I have new kits in the shop that I thought I would share. A friendship bracelet kit. I'll insert a photo of a couple that I made the other day. And each kit includes two wooden bangles and then 4 balls of yarn about this size, so you kind of get a feel like a mini, DK weight, and instructions on how to make these bracelets. And because it includes 2 wooden bangles, you can either make them both for yourself and do kind of like coordinating colors like I did, or you can make one for yourself and one to give to a friend. So those kits are on the website. Here's a little footage from my time at the Westwind Farms Fiber Festival in Yorktown, Indiana last weekend. And the last thing I was going to share, if you don't already subscribe to my newsletter on my website, head on over there and sign up, because I do a lot of announcements on there about sales and all sorts of things. So one thing, I think after I record this episode and sit down to edit it, in my newsletter, I typically talk about what I'm knitting, what I'm reading, and what I'm cooking. And I just ordered, and it just got delivered, this cookbook, the China Study Cookbook. And after I record, I'm going to sit down and flip through this. I've been wanting to order this cookbook for probably over a year now. I got interrupted again. FedEx delivery, and the dogs went crazy. Anyway, I have had this in my Amazon cart for well over a year. I don't know how I learned about it, but the China Study basically was one of those that revealed that the Western diet has led to, you know, a ton of health issues like obesity, heart disease, diabetes, cancer. And I just thought having like a fresh new cookbook would offer a lot of new ideas for recipes. I mean, they've got like breakfast dishes salads, breads, muffins, soups, sandwiches, entrees, side dishes, and desserts. So it's like 280 pages, and I just think this will be really fun. So all that to say, I encourage you all to take a little bit of your summer to maybe find some fresh, fun, and healthy recipes that maybe will infuse a little health into your life. And I think that is all I have for you today. Thanks for joining me for another episode, and if you would please, I would be so grateful if you would give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And if you don't already subscribe, definitely hit subscribe and the bell so you get notified when I drop new episodes, which is about every 2 or 3 weeks, whenever I have something decent to talk about. So I hope you all are having a fabulous summer, and if you're so inclined, put some sunscreen on and go sit on the patio and do some fiber arts. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.